What's up, everyone? It's Doug the Dog Guy with my little girl Athena here. And today we want to cover a really important topic with you. I have been getting a ton of questions about how much you can afford to pay your employees. And this is something that I see come up in the Pet Sitter and Dog Walker Facebook groups all the time. And I know that the numbers are not necessarily our best friends for a lot of us pet people, even for myself included. You know, I can get a little overwhelmed and confused by some of the numbers. But this is something that is very, very important. And you need to make sure that you understand how much you can be paying your employees to stay within healthy margins before you start hiring and paying people. If you don't have your numbers right, then you're just going to create a world of hurt for you and your business. So in today's video, we're going to cover the basic math, and I'm going to go over this as quickly as possible. And then I just want you to keep in mind that this is a really rudimentary run through here. And if you want to know more about this, I cover all of the different math in detail as well as all of the other aspects of the entire hiring process in my hiring course. And enrollment will be reopening on December 1st. So go to my website, dougthedogguy.co, to check out the course. And I would really love to see all of you guys enroll. You know, I put a lot of time and effort into making sure this course was as helpful as possible and as affordable as possible. And any of you guys that have watched my channel know that I often say I have learned everything that I know the hard way. And there are a lot of things that I wish I had known before I started hiring. So I made sure to include all of that kind of stuff in my hiring course. It's actually over 5 hours of content that I am teaching myself. And then there's an additional 5 hours of content that's taught by other industry leaders like Jamie Budnick and Michelle Klein, Morgan Weber, Amber Van Denzen Suarez, Kira Colon, Joe Latona. We have some really awesome people teaching some of the bonus lessons. So it's over 10 hours of video content. And then you also get a 50-page ebook with the entire course in writing. And you get access to a private Facebook group so that we can all really help each other through the hiring process and keep each other accountable. And I will be going live in that group about every week throughout December and January to answer everybody's questions and just keep you on track. So before we get into the numbers, just make a note to go to my website, dougthedogguy.co, and enroll in that course on December 1st. Now, all of that being said, before I pull out the whiteboard and start crunching some numbers for you guys, I just want to quickly remind you that you can pay your employees either hourly or piecemeal. But if you decide to pay piecemeal, aka per job, a flat rate per job, you still have to make sure that you are accounting for minimum wage for any and all time that they are working. And when I say any and all time, that includes their drive time. And you can't just pay for their drive time, you also have to equate for their vehicle expenses. And this is why a lot of companies opt to do the federal mileage reimbursement, which is 65.5 cents per mile. You don't have to do the mileage reimbursement if your drive time and vehicle expenses are baked in to your hourly pay or per visit pay. But again, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I just wanted to quickly say that so that we're all on the same page from the get-go. But again, I go into way more detail with all of this in the course. And I will also quickly say that, of course, I am talking about hiring employees. You will never hear me recommend hiring independent contractors, and I've created an entire other video that I will link down in the description below about why I highly encourage you to hire employees, not independent contractors. So now that we're all on the same page with all of that good stuff, hit the subscribe button and I will pull out the whiteboard and we will get to some math. Okay, so the first thing I want to mention here is that to maintain healthy margins as a service-based business, we never want our all-in labor costs to exceed 55% of our revenue. And really, the sweet spot for most of us as pet sitting and dog walking businesses seems to be a window between 45% and 55%. And I really recommend that you pay on a tiered structure where your new employees, their all-in labor cost comes in at the lower end at around 45%. And then you can work people up until their maximum pay kind of maxes out at around that 55%. So let's work through some examples here and go through all of the different taxes and numbers. Okay, so for example's sake, we are going to say that we are offering 30-minute visits for $25 a piece. So we're going to figure out what 45% of $25 is to find our low end of our pay window, and then we're going to figure out what 55% of $25 is to find the high end of our pay window. 45% of $25 is $11.25, and 55% of $25 is $13.75. If you're wondering how I figured that out, we just took 25 and multiplied it by 0.45, and then we took 25 and multiplied it by 0.55. Okay, so this is going to be the low end of our pay window and then the high end of our pay window. So now let's get into our expenses, our taxes, and all of that good stuff. All of us, doesn't matter what state you are in, are going to be paying FICA taxes. Now, FICA taxes are Medicare and Social Security, and that is 7.65% of your gross labor cost. And then you are going to have federal unemployment taxes, which comes in at 6% of your gross labor cost. And then we're going to have some things that are going to vary from state to state and business to business. Those things are your state unemployment taxes and your workers' compensation. Now, for example's sake, I'm going to use my own numbers here. I am in Florida, and our state unemployment tax is 2.7% of gross labor cost, and my workers' compensation is 3.88% of gross labor costs. So when we add all of these up, we will see that we have an expense load of 20.23%. Okay, so I'm going to reset the board now, and then we're going to work on our equation to figure out how much we can pay our employees. And while I'm doing that, drop a comment down below and let me know if you like my way of explaining this kind of stuff, and let me know if you're going to be enrolling in my hiring course. Okay, now before we move on, I do want to mention that the FICA, the federal unemployment, the state unemployment, and the workers' compensation is what most of us will be paying in most states. However, if you're somewhere like California, you may have some other things to add on to that. Again, I'm just covering the basics here. Enroll in the course if you want to hear all of this in more detail. Now, we have our service price at $25. We found our low end of our pay window, our high end of our pay window, and then we figured out that all of those expenses come to 20.23%. So our equation to figure out how much we can actually pay our employees per visit and then I'll quickly go over per hour after this, but per visit, we would be looking at 1.2023x equals $11.25 to find the low end of our pay window. And then to find the high end of our pay window, we would have 1.2023x equals $13.75. We would solve for x by dividing 1125 by the 1.2023. So when we divide $11.25 by 1.2023, we will find that the low end of our pay window is $9.36. And then we're going to find the high end of our pay window the same way. We're going to divide 1375 by 1.2023, and we will find that the high end of our pay window is $11.44. Okay, now we have to look at minimum wage and those vehicle expenses and driving time. Now, the way that we're going to do that is we're going to say that minimum wage here in Florida, where I am, is $12 an hour. Now, this is for a 30-minute visit, and we're going to assume that we're doing 15 minutes of drive time between visits on average. So that's 75% of an hour. 75% of $12 is $9. So that means we're doing good here. You know, at the low end of our pay window, we're at $9.36. We need to be paying at least $9 to meet the minimum wage requirements for all the time that they are working. So we have 36 cents left over to go towards those actual vehicle expenses, which is cutting it kind of close. You know, it may be enough, it may not be enough. If you would really need to look into your own situation a little bit further on this. But if you're not sure on this, I would just recommend that you do that federal mileage reimbursement to make sure that your expenses are covered, and that federal mileage reimbursement is not taxed as normal income. Again, I'm throwing a lot at you right now. I'm trying to move as fast as possible. I'm just covering the broad math. I talk about it further in the course. But in this example, with a minimum wage of $12 for a 30-minute visit with 15 minutes of drive time, with a $25 service, with 20.23% in taxes and workers' compensation, it looks like we are good to go here. Now, this is how you pay per visit. And the math per hour actually works the exact same. We're going to take this equation, the 1.2023x equals 45% of our revenue. That is always our equation. So in this instance, we took 45% of the service because we're paying a flat rate per service. If we're paying hourly, we need to look at our average revenue per hour. And the way that we would do that is say that we are doing, on average, a visit and a half each hour. They're 30-minute visits. There's 15 minutes of drive time, so that means we're doing 1.5 visits per hour, which means that our revenue would be 37.5. So we would find 45% of that to find our low end, and then 55% of that to find our high end. So 45% of 3750 is $16.88, and 55% of 3750 is $20.63. So we'll plug those numbers into our equations here. We'll have 1.2023x equals $16.88. for our low end. So when we divide $16.88 by 1.2023, we will find that the low end of our pay window is $14.04 per hour. So when we divide $20.63 by our 1.2023, we will find that the high end of our pay window is $17.16 per hour. So that means we could start our new employees at $14 per hour, and we could work them all the way up until we get to $17.16 per hour. Our minimum wage is $12 an hour, so we're good to go. Again, you will want to do your own math with your own workers' comp, with your own state unemployment tax, with your own minimum wage, with your own service prices. These are example numbers here. I'm just showing you how to do the math, and this is on the basic side. Again, enroll in the hiring course to hear all of this in more detail. But I hope that I have at least covered the basics for you and answered your initial questions. If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I put out videos here every week sharing my experiences as a pet business owner to help you succeed. Again, I have the hiring course, and I have some other free documents on my website that you can go and download, and you can sign up for my email newsletter on my website as well. That's free, and I send out a newsletter every Friday. Again, just trying to share my knowledge to help you guys avoid some of the mistakes that I have made along the way. And with that, I am Doug the Dog Guy, and I am reminding you to stay positive.